All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first and only explanation live of this project. You here, the audience, are going to be part of the video and obviously have access to the video once it's put up on Mr. Gardner's blackboard. So today, we're going to go through the requirements for your research paper. And the research paper combines the idea that you find for your mathematician in terms of the actual mathematical ideas that the mathematician puts out and connects it to some significant contribution that that mathematical idea has made in the world around you. So if that mathematician was instrumental in creating a formula so that you can create a bridge to span across 2 points, then that would be a significant contribution to the world around you. Things like buildings or drainage pipes or cars or anything that you see, do, or hear, experience around you has been derived from some form of mathematics. If we make it, it's mathematically connected. So, today we're going to talk about how you determine the mathematician's contribution to the discipline of math and how it's led to the significant human cultural development. And that's in any time period that Mr. Gardner has given you for your mathematicians, and I assume it goes back for a couple thousand years. And you're going to try to apply research to your argument. And you're going to try to do it in very specific ways. So you're not randomly going to research things, you're going to research specific things. You're going to research biographical information, like background of the author, where the author was born, what the author maybe ate and drank, what his or her bedtime was. Things that are things that you might think of as mundane or not really connected to anything significant. The only way that they were able to make any kind of contribution or create any kind of formula is through participating in those mundane acts. If someone is impoverished and has little to eat, did that somehow spurn that person to create, to have an idea that led them to a mathematical equation, a formula that helped us create something in our world? So no matter how small or insignificant you might think it is, gather some biographical information relating to the mathematician. So don't just go to the places where you think are going to hit the high points. We're going to talk about the types of sites that you might want to visit in order to research. And then B, you're going to look at mathematical and scientific contributions made by the mathematician. And C, the human cultural developments resulting from the contribution. So those are 3 areas of research that you're going to work into your paper. And you're going to do them individually so that, my scrolling. I've given you a template that you can apply to all of your research and all of your ideas. So basically you're going to do this in MLA form. You're going to have one thesis paragraph, 2 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. You're going to have a works cited page with your research that, what do we have? 3 secondary sources, maximum of 4. So you can have no more than 4 sources for this paper, a minimum of 3. And you want sources that apply to your different areas: biography, mathematical contributions, and then developments based on those contributions. So those 3 areas are the focus of your research. And when you look as we scroll down, you have a template where you are using these specific points in order to develop your idea. So you're not just kind of writing a summary of anything, you're trying to develop a focus where you're proving a point about your mathematician. That this mathematician lived in a certain time, did certain things, created certain mathematical ideas, which led to certain contributions in the world around us today. That's the kind of formula that you're using to create your paper. Just like you use formulas in order to derive some kind of answer from an equation, you're using that same idea here, where you're setting up the topic, a main idea, ways to support that main idea, and a focus of importance. Why you have that main idea. Why are you showing the contributions of that mathematician to the world around us? Why is that relevant? Why is a bridge important, or a building, or anything else that the mathematician gave us? You know, the microchip, or anything else that we see in the technical world around us. And then you have your body paragraphs. Your body paragraphs are divided into sections as well, so that each part of your body paragraph has a specific purpose. And when you add all of those up together, you get support for your main topic. So your body paragraph will begin with an idea that you use in your introduction on how you will research to support the idea. You have a transition, and you have two means of support. You have first specific idea and second specific idea. Those are two visible means of support for your main idea in this paragraph. Your first subtopic. And obviously, as you can see, when you get down here, the second one is your second subtopic. So you have the same question that you're trying to answer, the same first specific idea, but you're focusing on a contribution. So mathematician's contribution to math, mathematician's contribution to cultural development. So you're dividing your ideas into those two, and you're inserting biographical information where in between them. So it talks about where you insert specific pieces of information. So if we go back up to the introduction, you notice that it's structured in the same way. We have a main idea, and we have two visible means of support. If we go down to the body, again, you have your main idea here, and your two visible means of support. So when you're first starting to work on this project, you have to gather research. And so the very first thing you want to do when you gather research is have a page set up that you're going to call a works cited page. And you just label it works cited page. And on that page you're going to put all of the things that you're looking up that potentially could be sources for you. So before you even start writing, you have to do some research. And unless you know something about your mathematician, which I don't know how detailed your studies of mathematicians have been in the past, you might, but the process that you go through is not a thing where you have to know anything about the topic. You're trying to discover something about the topic and present that and prove that there was something significant that that mathematician has done, and it contributed to this in our culture and enabled us to do something as human beings. So that's what you're trying to prove. And you're gathering data and you're gathering information to prove that, and you're compiling it in an organized way so that you can show the mathematician's mathematical process and the way we use it in the world and the contribution that it makes. And that's how you divide that. And in order to gather that research and keep it all in order. You have a works cited page where you put that information down, the title of the article, the place it was published, and the easiest way to do that is to go to, wow, that's big. EasyBib is a really good place to investigate how to create bibliographic references, or even use what they give you to create the bibliographic reference. Sometimes you just plug in the URL and it gives you the reference. But remember, you're looking for MLA, and you want the latest version of the MLA that they have. And that's what you'll use to plug in your ideas. When we talk about research, you talk about valid sources. Yes, sir? You have valid sources and invalid sources. In order to kind of keep you focused on what is probably a positive valid source, we want to have .org or .edu. Looks horrible, doesn't it? .org. So if you are typing in your search engine, your keywords, you type in Pythagoras, mathematical contribution, and cultural development contribution, or contribution to American society, or contribution to world society, whatever you're focusing on, and then put in .org after that, it filters the majority of the .coms and things that are more likely to have sources where you have to do more investigating on the source than you actually do on the topic. Because if you have a source that is just summarizing a whole bunch of information and they don't tell you where it comes from, you have no idea if that information is valid. So if you're going to quote things from this source and cite things from this source, then you have to have a valid source. And we do that by looking at the URL. If it has .org or .edu, those two are kind of our more prominent. .gov could be another one. .gov could be another little proof suffix that you put on there. And try to, before you even start going through the 10,000 hits that you get when you type in your search words, try to filter before you even have to filter. And you do that by creating a term where at the end you put .org or .edu or .gov. And if you type in your mathematician, and the key search words, mathematical contribution, or mathematical formula, or contributions to mathematics, and start there, and then work your way after that into the mathematical formula and how it applies to the real world, then you're going to have no problem. .org, .edu, or .gov, you'll find plenty of things that you can filter through. No matter what you do, put down those documents that you look at on your works cited page so you know where to go back to. And you know that, hey, I like this one. I've got 4 of them. I only need 3. Let me just see if I can throw one away if I don't really have to have it. Or I have 5 of them. I can only use 4. Let me throw one of these away. But the idea is the more you have, the easier it is for you, because you can throw the material away and still have enough to make your paper. So step 1, find some research. Step 2, put that research onto your works cited page. Step 3, start organizing your research in terms of the paragraphs and the paragraph template. I don't know what the timetable is for this paper.
4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, yeah, so you got plenty of time to do this.
About 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can, that's perfect, because you can say, I've got a week to research, I've got a week to develop my outline, I've got a week to develop my rough draft, and then I've got a week to finalize it and turn it in. That's perfect. That divides out perfectly. So let's say that we put that schedule into motion where next week at this time you will have gathered research and a works cited for this project. You wouldn't have written anything. You're just gathering data. And then the next step is to go through that data and find which parts you want to use and break that down into an outline. And that'll be week 2. Week 3 is rough draft. Week 4 is finalizing rough draft. Peer editing, getting everything taken care of at the Writing Center. So the Writing Center will be part of a process that you're going to go through towards the end where you'll take your paper up to the Writing Center and have someone look at it for a final review. You'll have specific questions that you'll bring up there. Say, I'm really having problems putting my citations in. Can you help me with the citations and make sure that they're correct? And then go from there. If you have more than one question, I'm sure they'll have time for you. All right, so step 1, gather research. Now, if Mr. Gardner would like, after step 1, gathering research, I can come back next week, talk about what you've gathered, and how to take that and start creating an outline from that. And maybe we can do that and have a little part 2. All right. Any questions? It's a lot of information, and this is an introduction, but I needed you to see that writing something like a paper, especially something that combines mathematics with more of a cultural study instead of just a mathematical study, there's a lot of effort put into the initial research. But if you follow the formula for the writing, all of that just flows into the formula, and you'll have your paper completed before you know it. But you have to put in that initial effort and see where it goes and how much that will take you. And 4 weeks, I think, is a really liberal, good amount of time for this project. Yeah. 4 weeks is a really good time. Yeah, I think that's it. I have a song if you want me to sing it.
You get?
I mean, you can if you want.
Oh,
Raindrops keep falling on my head, but that doesn't mean the sky will soon
Y'all don't know that one?
turning red. Crying's not for me, 'cause I'm never gonna stop the rain by complaining, because I'm free. Nothing's worrying me.
How you gonna run it?
Thank you. Thank you. All right.